Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on the 14th. Wednesday, the 14th of February, 2024. Thank you for tuning in. So, what's happening in the world today, Well, the national debt. The Fed is very concerned, it says, over spending and interest on the national debt. Now, maybe I can click on this page. Well, yeah, I'm going to have an ad coming up. Okay, here it is. This is projected growth out to the year 2050, and that's where they're projecting it to be, about, 170% of GDP, the debt. That's their projection, but that's Goldilocks. That's like, you know how when they project something, but what we can see is the trend line is going to be up, 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 with the debt exceeding higher and higher rates of what it's equal to than the GDP. I personally believe that this line right now is going almost straight up. Instead of going out at what would that be, that'd be a 45-degree angle that they're projecting. It's more like it's more like this right here, I think. It's almost straight up. So it's probably really, by 2050, it would probably be more like 300% or something, really. But they don't want to put that there, because it would make it look worse than what it is. You can bet that they're putting the best possible projection on this of what the debt to GDP will be by the year 2050. Now, scientists are resorting to once unthinkable solutions to try to cool the planet. Well, the Atlantic Meridian Current that I was showing you guys yesterday or the day before, what they used to call the Gulf Stream. I get the Gulf Stream and jet stream mixed up. Two different streams. One's a stream of air, the jet stream, and then there's the Gulf Stream. Well, we're talking about the Gulf Stream here. It's slowing. It's been slowing for quite a long period of time. And so they're dumping chemicals into the ocean. They're spraying salt water into clouds. They're injecting reflective particles into the sky. They're resorting to everything that they can think of to try to cool the planet. I'm going to tell you what. If that Gulf Stream stops abruptly, and in the past they can see, in ice core samples, they can see that that's what it does. It slows and slows and slows, and then it stops. If that thing stops, it's going to be a massive, sudden event. It's going to freeze. Like, they found the last time the thing stopped. They found that things like mastodons and stuff like that, frozen in the ice, with the grass still in their mouth, and they've been frozen for thousands of years, and the meat was still so fresh that it could be eaten in the modern day. For something that's frozen thousands and thousands of years ago because it got flash frozen. You say, well, how can that happen? Have any of you guys ever been up on a jet plane? Really high altitude? I have. It's like 80 degrees below zero up there. Now, hurricanes, they're a circular wind, and in the core of the hurricane, you got something called an eye. And all the air is coming from the ground and going up into that eye, up into the upper atmosphere. It's like a circulatory thing. It's like the fan on your air conditioner. You go outside, you get that square box on the outside of your house, and you got a fan inside there blowing up, and the heat comes up, what they call a heat exchanger. Hurricane works almost identical. It's a big, giant heat exchanger is what it is. It drives its energy from the... Well, there's different kinds of storms. Hurricanes, the eye pushes the air up into the upper atmosphere. There's a type of storm that can form that's exactly the opposite. It works exactly the same way, except the heat's transferred, so the storm works in the exact opposite. And in the core of the storm, it brings the air from the upper atmosphere down to disperse it. It works in the opposite way. I think they call them like subtropical. They're a different type of storm, anyway. And so it's very possible that that storm that formed thousands and thousands of years ago during the Younger Dryas, probably, pulled the air from the upper atmosphere, that 80 degrees below zero air, directly down to the earth, but with a great deal of force and wind speed. What we're talking about here is winds probably in excess of 200 miles per hour. The air coming directly down from the upper atmosphere, down to ground level. And those poor mastodons, they were there grazing on the grass and everything else, and this storm formed, and whoosh, that air come down 80 degrees below zero and probably 200 mile an hour wind over an eye. The eye of the storm might have been 1,000 miles across. Froze them all while they had the grass still in their mouth. So we look at stuff like that today and we're like, but see, we've seen these kind of storms form on other planets. Most famous is the big storm on Jupiter, but we've never seen one on Earth. A giant, enormous storm. We have seen storms. Some of these hurricanes, when they really grow large, they can get to be like 1,000 miles or 1,500 miles from one side of the storm to the other. But we've never seen a continuous storm that doesn't go away but stays as a part of the planet for goodness knows how long they could, once they get going, how long it could get going. It'd be like the storm on Jupiter, the storm they call Jupiter's Eye. Anyway, I got to get on here talking about other stuff. Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, he has been impeached, evidently. Says the U.S. House of Representatives on Tuesday impeached Alexander Mayorkas, Joe Biden's Secretary of Homeland Security, in explicit political charges related to the conditions at the southern border. Mayorkas is the first to face such punishment in more than 150 years. Oh my gosh, 150 years, guys. And they did it so quick. How come when they're trying to impeach the presidents and stuff, they go through all these impeachment proceedings and everything else, and it takes like 6 months, it takes 8 months, 10 months, whatever, and when they finally get done, it seems like nothing really happened in the first place. It shows you they can do this stuff kind of fast if they want to. Well, he's gone. What else have we got going on here today? We got a lot going on here today. Looking over here to this article, it says, is the U.S. ready for World War III? Concerns over the United States Navy as fears grow. There's a ship, pretty looking ship. It says, with the threat of World War III seemingly at an all-time high, fears are growing around whether the United States military is even prepared. Are they even prepared in the event of it happening? The Israeli-Hamas war and conflict in the Middle East and Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine and threats from China and Iran all harbor uncertainty and raise the potential for global warfare. Well, I heard there was some sort of an explosion in Iran. I heard. Something going on over there right now. Well, it doesn't surprise me. Let's just put it that way, And I mean, Iran is basically said that they have what they need, but they're not going to make a nuclear thing or whatever, I don't know. All I know is they've been enriching uranium for a very long period of time. Iran has, and whether or not they can build a nuclear weapon. If they build a nuclear weapon, do you think they're really going to announce it to the world? Hey, we got it. Come attack us. We got it now. No, they're going to keep it quiet. In fact, they're probably going to hide it someplace or whatever. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing over there? I don't. but I don't really trust them. uh, and there's unbelievable fear, too, in these hundreds of people that are in Gaza right now. 1.4 million Palestinians. Now, I got really something, this buggy that they got here. Man, that looks like something out of the Great Depression of the United States back when they used to have to go off and head west, you know. But they got all their possessions on there. And it looks like they've put it together with ropes and whatever they could find. They even got a bicycle on there. And how many people is there? Count heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I see 9 people on there. And a horse pulling it. Looks like the horse has been starving. Look how his belly's cowled in there on the horse. But the poor old horse, you know, he's got the whip across his back and he's going to have to pull whether he's starving or not. But there they go. They're on their way. And, yeah. Now, the Senate is... Here's the thing. Yesterday, you know, I reported that they passed it. Yeah, that's right. They did pass it. But it's only been passed through the Senate, this bill for $95 billion for Ukraine and Israel. It has to go through the House yet. And I failed to mention that part. So there's still more to be approved yet, is basically what I'm saying. So I want to correct that error on my show yesterday. The U.S. Senate has approved the $95 billion foreign aid package after months of political wrangling. But it says it faces an uphill battle in the House now. Senate Democrats were in favor of passing the bill. Republicans are divided, and they previously voted it down. The package has $60 billion for Ukraine. So we're going to have to wait and see what the outcome is on that. They'll probably end up passing it, I imagine. Ukraine claims a tactical critical strike on the Caesar Kunov Russian Black Sea warship. So Ukraine has attacked a warship again near Ukraine on the Black Sea. And let's see, it says Ukraine reports that its forces have critically damaged a large Russian warship off occupied Crimea, landing a new blow on the foe's Black Sea fleet, Russia's Black Sea fleet. A new blow to the fleet. It was a landing ship, evidently. It says the strike came as Kiev's new military chief toured the front lines, describing the situation as complex. Now, taking a look at silver today. Silver's starting to go up. It's at 22.14. It's been doing this pattern. Gold and silver's been doing this pattern for a while now. And right now, it's near the bottom edge of the pattern that it's been doing. You know, it could go down as low as probably 21 something. But still, regardless, then it goes back up to about 23 or 24, and then it repeats that. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's been doing it for quite a while now. It's like a holding pattern. It's like an airplane doing a holding pattern before it's getting ready to, you know. But in this case, it's doing a holding pattern, I think, before it's getting ready to take off, blast off. That's what I think it's doing, personally. And oh my goodness, that show I reported to you guys yesterday, if Mexico does that, if they ban open pit mining, and the president's behind it, of Mexico, that means a lot to putting a bill through. If any country, United States, if the president's behind a bill, generally it gets passed. Well, we're not sure about this yet. We don't know for sure if it'll get passed. But we're going to have to wait and see. But if they do, if they ban open pit mining in Mexico, which represents a huge chunk of the mining of silver in the world, and these big corporations are really set against it, they don't want it to pass because they want to continue mining. If they have to shut down operations in Mexico, that chunk of the world's silver is going to spin the world into a massive silver shortage. And I could see, if we go into a massive silver shortage worldwide, I could see that retail sellers of silver, not only will they be able to supply, but the government might step in and say, hey, you know, we need silver for industry. You can't sell it to the people any longer. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. But not only that, the price would probably come unhinged to the upside. It would be more than a rally, more than a bull market. It would be like almost overnight. Forget those $3 days I talked about. I think they got some sort of a stop here on this market. If it goes up like $3, they stop the market for like 15 minutes or something. And then if it goes up another $3, they stop it again. And they got stops in there. I think they're $3. But don't hold me to that, because quite a while ago they put those stops in. I remember when they did it, a few years back. But, you know, that's to prevent the price from going unhinged. But they can't. They have to open the next day, and then it'll go up $3 and $3 and $3 again. You know, if we get some sort of a crazy shortage where there's no silver available, companies will panic. They'll be like, hey, you know, we got to put away extra silver because we don't want to stop our production lines. So they'll try to secure an inventory for themselves against a market backdrop where there's none to be had. Just make the price go unhinged, and it'll completely separate from this paper price. Heck, when that happens, this paper price right here of SLV or whatever, it might go down to zero, below zero. But that doesn't mean you can buy any silver with it. What's going to be the premium? The premium will be everything to get real physical then at that point. So it'll be completely separated from this. You see, your paper silver will be worth practically whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because it's not real. It's just paper. See? That's what they've been pricing. The tail's been wagging the dog on this for years, where they've been pricing it with paper. But there's not enough silver to back the amount of paper that they make. So it looks on paper, it looks like there's far more silver out there than there really is. Because they can create all these unbacked paper silver derivatives products in any supply they want. Enough supply where they can keep the price down. And, you know, everything in the world now is a racket. You know, here's gold today. Gold's down to $1.50 at 1991. Cryptocurrency today. Cryptocurrency's coming unhinged a little bit. We've been seeing a bull in crypto. We're looking at almost $52,000, $51,900 for Bitcoin today. Wow. She's on a roll, boys. Ethereum, $27.58. Excitement's going to start to come back into the crypto market. XRP, 53.4 cents. This bull, every time Bitcoin goes into a bull, it's a massive event. And gosh only knows where we could end up with this bull, because the timing and everything. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see it go over 100,000. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Wouldn't surprise me, because look at the progression, you know. I mean, a rally a long time ago, it went up to 260. And then it dropped off to like nothing, practically nothing. And then it went along for a long time, and then it went into another rally, you know, and it went up. And then you guys remember the rally? It went up to 20,000 and then dropped off to like 3,500. And then it went back into another rally again, the last one. We went to 68,000. And then it dropped off, and you could have had them for, what was the low in this rally? I think it was like 14,000 was the low after 68,000. So right now we're in the middle of it, starting to go into another rally. So each successive rally is multiples higher of the previous rally. So the previous rally is 68,000. We're not even up to that yet, up to the high of the previous rally. And each time, because this is deflationary, Bitcoin is extremely deflationary, whereas all your other currencies, your dollar, every one of them, are inflationary. They inflate. They get eaten away with inflation. This stuff is just the opposite. It's deflationary. Every 4 years, they cut the amount in half. It's called a halving. So every 4 years, this gets the amount that's coming out from the miners gets cut in half. That means the supply gets cut in half every 4 years. So it makes it scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. And then you got to think about all the Bitcoin transactions that happen. Tiny little micro particles of Bitcoin get left over in wallets and stuff, and people close the wallet out or whatever, or lose it. You know how many Bitcoins have been lost? It's simple. A guy puts say he puts 1% of a Bitcoin on his laptop or whatever, and he forgets about it. Maybe a year or two passed. He forgot to even put it on there, and then what happens is the laptop might break, or he might replace it, or maybe it gets tossed into the garbage. And it's got like 1% or less than 1% of a Bitcoin on it. Well, that affects the world total of Bitcoin. You get that multiple happening over and over and over again around the world, and soon these 19 million Bitcoins or something that are in existence gets chopped down, and the next thing you know, it's 18 million and 17 million and 16 million. And then they can't possibly make more. And so the value is reflective of that, reflective of the fact that as it slowly. And also, for years, I was concerned about the Bitcoin network, something happening. I thought to myself, well, maybe some sort of a bug will come along and Bitcoin will freeze on the network or whatever. Something will happen. Maybe there'll be a 51% attack or gosh only knows. But the software that was put in with Bitcoin in 2009 must be infallible. Because years are going by, a long time's going by, and what I thought might happen never did happen, and maybe it never will happen. In fact, I think the network is even getting more resilient as the years are going by. They're working on the network. They're getting it more scalable. Moving on, taking a look at the Dow today. We're looking at it's up 20 points on the day at 38,293. We did have that drop yesterday. It was quite, when I did the show, it was quite significant. But here we go now. We're stabilizing on the Dow today. And we're still near all-time highs. Taking a look at crude oil, is at 78.38. Now, crude oil is up 50 cents today. And it's getting rather high. It was around $72 there a few weeks ago. Now it's up to 78 and getting almost up to $80. And crude oil is something that, hey, listen, guys, our economy is all an oil-based economy. This has its effect. The oil price has a profound effect on the markets. Because never forget, we're an oil-based everything. It has a profound effect upon inflation. Oil prices start to go up. And our CPI numbers are going up. Inflation is not gone. It's not gone away. It's not transitory. Oh my gosh, transitory. Where did they come up with that? It shows you how these slicksters, it shows you how they're so slick, even with wording things. Oh, this is just going to be transitory. Transitory. Here we are, years later, years are passing, and it's getting more entrenched all the time. So much for transitory. 10-year treasuries today are 4.27. They're down 4.1 basis points. And the U.S. 30 years at 4.45, and it's down 1.6 basis points. And the U.S. dollar index is at 104.77, and it's starting to slide down a little bit. It's down a 0.25%, so it's at 104.74 right now. Looks like it's dropping today a little bit, but not seriously. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. Catch you guys in the next show, and you guys have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.